Okay, so how many of you know what inbound is? Probably the majority of the room. I'm just going to do a quick definition. So inbound marketing is a methodology where you create really good content and create experiences, and that helps you naturally attract your new customers. Examples of inbound are putting on events, creating videos, writing blog articles, social media, kind of all of those organic type of activities. And inbound works really well when you're creating content that is in the right place, is in the right time, and is also the right content that fits the ideal persona that you're going after. And it's no surprise that about 70% of the buyer's journey from someone when they start, the journey of purchasing something to when they end, about 70% of the way through, that's when they actually start talking to sales reps. And that's, of course, because of this magical thing called the internet, where we can do research on the products and services that we're buying. So if you think about this is like running a marathon, and your salespeople don't get in the race until the 18th mile. And when you're doing inbound, it's like your salespeople your company is there from the start line. So in summary, inbound works kind of like a magnet. Feel free to laugh at the memes if you want. Naturally attracts customers instead of interrupting their day. That's inbound. Outbound, on the other hand, is this concept of being interruptive to prospective customers and giving them content that they don't want. So examples of outbound are cold calling, cold emailing, direct mail, any type of banner advertising, or most traditional advertising is outbound. And since 2006, there's probably been more than 5,000 HubSpot partners and other companies that preach inbound and will tell you that cold calling is bad. Well, I'm here to tell you that 10% of the time it works every time. No, I'm just kidding. But let's talk about 2006, okay? This is the line in 2006. This was the year that Britney Spears, Paris Hilton, and Lindsay Lohan became best friends, right? That was a long time ago. It was the year that Britney and K-Fed broke up, and K-Fed recorded his first and last CD. I mean, do you guys remember CDs, like those really bulky cases that we used to keep them in, and then they would melt in your car if you left them in there too long? That was 13 years ago, right? So this idea that inbound is bad, or excuse me, outbound is bad, I think is garbage. I think we have to start looking at how inbound and outbound can work cohesively together. And I'm going to give you some examples of how outbound can be really effective with inbound. But first, let's go back to 2006. Let's talk about how many blog articles and blogs existed on the internet. There was about 50 million published blogs, not blog articles, but individual blogs back in 2006, and about 1.6 million blogs being published every single day. Compare that to 2019, there are 1.6 billion blogs and 4.4 million blog posts published every single day. So it's no wonder that the top 5% of the content that gets published to the internet gets 95% of the readership. So 95% of that content that's published online is invisible, essentially. Also in 2005, YouTube launched. By 2006, it was one of the fastest growing sites on the internet with 65,000 videos published. And in 2019, it would take you 66 years of your life to get through one day of what's being published to YouTube. One day. So you can think of that, where we were back in 2006 with Lindsay Lohan. I don't know who we have now that's comparable, but you guys get the point. We're creating a lot of content. So content is, it's still good, but here's the thing. Back in 2006, you would have published, let's say 4 to 6 articles a month, and it would have taken you about 6 months to start seeing results from a campaign like that. And then of course you would need to do some type of link building activities for SEO. But today, because of the saturation of content, It takes 1 to 2 years to start seeing results with a really good content program. On top of that, not only do we need to create content, but we also need to do link building, and we need to do this new thing called technical SEO to make sure that the website is Google friendly. And all of that together can easily add up to $10,000 a month program, $120,000 a year. And if you're waiting a whole year to see results, I mean, that could be a pretty big investment to hit the top of the page of Google. So what I'm not saying is that inbound marketing isn't worth it. The juice is definitely worth the squeeze. But because overall the buyer's journey hasn't changed. People still need to become aware that your company exists. People still need to be educated on your products and services. They're still going to go online before they talk to a sales rep. And people still need to know why they should pick you over your competitors. That has not changed. And content helps you with that. But specifically when it comes to outbound, the definition, this is from, I think it's from HubSpot's website, was the idea of outbound is giving prospects content that they don't want. So we thought, and it's not like a novel idea or anything, that we reach out to prospective customers and we give them content they do want. So just by simply saying, okay, instead of being interruptive over their day, what if we create really good content and we do outreach to them? So for the lack of a better term, we call this outbound-led inbound. If you guys think of a better name, please let me know. Hey. So here's how it works. Just like traditional inbound, we're still creating content. We're still creating webinars, podcasts, white papers, case studies, video guides, anything that your prospective customers want to read. But unlike traditional inbound, we're also putting in experiences. So hosting speaking engagements, we're hosting executive roundtable series, we're hosting social events to get people together. The strongest thing that you can ever do for your sales team is get people face to face, especially for B2B. So unlike traditional inbound, we're building an account-based marketing list. So this process is very similar to ABM, where we would put a list together based on the firmographics of who you're targeting and your personas. And once we have that list, that's the list that we go after with our outbound tactics. Step 3 is to perform outreach using a cadence of LinkedIn messages, emails, direct mail, or any other type of outbound tactics that you can use to send a one-to-one personalized message. This is not like a big newsletter blast that just pisses everybody off. It has to be one-to-one and personalized. So in this case, this is a very simple example of what a cadence might look like. In some cases, it might be 2 weeks to do something like this. Our sales team follows a process of 17 touches over 27 days. And usually if you do it right, you can get about a 25% reply rate on that. Like traditional inbound, once you've generated the lead, then you would put them into the nurturing sequences, and then of course hand them off to your sales team using lead scoring or any other type of tactics where you figure out if they are ready to be called. So here are some of the stats that are based on what we're doing. We're sending out about 50,000 LinkedIn messages a month, an additional 250,000 one-to-one personalized emails a month across our client base. And what we've seen is, in terms of LinkedIn, we're getting a connection rate of between 15 and 25%. So if we send out 100 connections, we're getting anywhere from 15 to 25 people who are accepting those connection requests. Yes.
Just to achieve that level of scale for your clients, on the emails, are you doing templatized outreach, or how are you doing that on a one-on-one?
That's a great question. So we don't do any emails. It's all through connection requests and through personalized LinkedIn messages.
Like less than 150 character, but again, is that templatized, or how are you doing that 50,000 times a month?
Yeah, so it's there's certain things that you can personalize within the messages. Okay. Usually it's like the first name is the easiest way to do it, but if you have other fields, you can pull those in. Yeah. And then once we are connected with those people, we'll see anywhere from a 10 to 25% reply rate. Using email outreach, we'll see anywhere from a 20 to 45% open rate, and we'll see anywhere from a 5 to 35% reply rate from cold contacts, not from a warm list. If we're doing it to a warm list, we'll see about an 80% open rate and as high as a 65% reply rate. And if you compare that to email marketing, where you might get a 12% open rate and a 2% click-through rate, like what do click-throughs really do anyway? They don't really do a lot. You want people responding to your emails and engaging with your content or engaging with your brand.
Greg?
Yes.
That's over 17 touches on 27 days, what you're seeing on this?
This one?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
so
rates?
I would say like our average is probably 7 to 10 touches over maybe 2 to 3 weeks.
Okay.
Yeah. This is like doing middle funnel activities. So we're driving prospects to events, and we're driving them to content that our customers have created. All right. So to recap, unless you're John, it's cut off. It says John Slow. Unless you're Jon Snow from Game of Thrones. God, that ended so badly, didn't it? You don't want to wait 10 to 24 months to start seeing an inbound marketing process work. You want to add an outbound marketing component to it, and that way, instead of waiting a year or two to start seeing meaningful results from your programs, you can see meaningful results in as little as 1 to 3 months. So tying it all together, this is kind of how we look at inbound marketing 3.0. The idea is that we're building a community, we're using experiences and content to engage that community, and then we're using education, like nurturing content, automated follow-up, sales automation, to bring those deals across the finish line. Call inbound 3.0. And thank you.